What's going on, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to show you how I sold over $1,000 worth of books today and made over $400 profit. This is going to be a what sold video. My name is Joji. I'm a high school chemistry teacher, but I also buy books on Amazon for the purpose to resell them on Amazon, and I do that utilizing a software called Keepa. So I just read Keepa charts to figure out when books are undervalued, and it's really cool because, you know, I'm a father of a 1-year-old boy. I have a full-time job. The only time I can really source and side hustle is really late at night, and it's possible to not have to go to thrift stores, library sales to find books. So if you're interested in that, then stick around and let's look at some books that sold today. All right, so we're over here on the Amazon Seller Central webpage. You can see that I've sold $1,000 worth of books today, and it's actually a pretty good day today. You can see that most days are not that high, at least right now. Like textbook season is pretty much over, so now we're kind of heading into, you know, some of the more seasonal things like Halloween and Christmas, and also preparing on buying stuff for the next textbook season in January. But you can see that, you know, $498, $774, $500, $500, $600, $700, and today is $1,059 in sales. So what I'm gonna do is come up here to the top left, come down to orders and click manage orders, and you'll see a long list of books that I've sold today. So you can see something sold literally moments ago for $112, and then you can see 50 minutes ago, 2 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours. Like I said, I'm at work as a high school teacher, teaching the kids, the youth of America, and books that I purchase are selling. And the really great thing about Amazon FBA is that when you buy all these books, you know, you can send them to a prep center so that they do all the prepping and they do all the unboxing, and then they can send it to an Amazon FBA warehouse so that when customers buy it, Amazon ships it out for you. Now, we're going to scroll down until we get to 23 hours ago. This is the first thing that sold, which is 12 a.m. So basically, you know, 12 minutes past midnight, or I guess before 1 a.m. in the morning. This is actually a book I got from my school for free. So my school recently adopted a whole bunch of different, a new math curriculum. And so they are, you know, throwing away a whole bunch of books in the dumpster, and I recovered them from the dumpster, and some of them are selling. So this one sold for $45. After fees, that one will probably be around $32. That'll be free profit. So that's cool. The next book that I sold 20 hours ago is called The Book of Common Worship. So you can see it sold for $99.94. And if we plug that in here to Seller App, you'll see that with the $28.48 buy cost, that we made a $54 profit. So you can see that I did actually buy this on Amazon. It says, you know, I purchased this on August 24th, and if I view the order, there's the actual proof that I did buy it for $21.48. And if we scroll down here to the Keepa chart, I'll show you why I bought this. So you'll see that this book had a few sales range drops when the lowest used price on Amazon was about $77. Here at 96, once here at 96, and then you can see that this actually dropped from 96 down to 35 down to $16 plus shipping. So I decided to pick up a copy because I had seen a few sales above what I could buy the book for. And so that's kind of how I do this. Like, I look at Keepa charts, figure out when has the book been selling, you know, what price in the past, and then if today the price of that book is significantly below what it sold in the past, then I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. And honestly, the model isn't fundamentally different than people who go to thrift stores or library sales. They're also trying to buy undervalued books, but they're, you know, spending $1 or $2 on a book for something that's worth 15 or 20. I'm just doing it at a larger scale, you know, at a more expensive scale. I'm buying a book for 15, 20, 25 bucks and trying to sell it for 50, 60, 70. So this is a book that did really well, sold for $99. We made a $54 profit. We only invested $21.48. I never had to touch this book. It went right from whoever owned this book, right, whoever merchant filled it, right to my prep center. And I have a video on my channel if you want to look basically how the prep center works. It's actually really simple to set up. It's way easier than you think. And then my prep center sends it to the Amazon FBA warehouse. So after we take out all the fees, Amazon fees, inbound shipping fees, the prep center fees, we're left with a $54 profit, which is amazing. That's a 252% ROI. And this is what is bread and butter. This is the best sort of flips that makes some good money. All right, the next book that we have is actually The Fourth Wise Man. This is a seasonal book. This is actually a Christmas book, and it sold for $23.98. And I did also buy this book on Amazon. So you can see here's the book, Fourth Wise Man. It came out October 1st of 1998, so an old book. And when you scroll down to the Keepa chart and you look at the last 4,600 days, you'll notice that basically the used price always inflates during Christmas, and that's because seasonal books, or, you know, are just books that people don't really care about until it's the season. And I did team up with my good friend Victor Gallegos, and we put together a 250 book Christmas list that all replens things that we plan to buy this year and for years in the future. So that's a product that we made together. A lot of really awesome feedback from people who purchased it. No pressure. You don't need to buy it to be successful, but if, do all the finding of those books, you can check that out. But this is a book that I bought for $3.88. Super, super cheap. Bought it on eBay, and I'm actually surprised that it already sold for $23.98. We made a $6.65 profit. That's 171% ROI. Again, never touched this book. It went right to a prep center, right to an Amazon FBA warehouse, and that's awesome. This is something that I didn't think would sell until it's, probably early December. You can see in the previous year, even though the buy box was, right around $25 mid-November, the price didn't actually start increasing till early December. You can actually see by December 19th that no one was in stock. The user offer count went to 0. Awesome flip there. And let's go on to the next one. All right, the next book is called Little Boy, The Art of Japan's Exploding Subculture. Awesome book. Sold for $144.26. You can see that I bought this on July 7th. So I bought it a few months ago, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's not like every book that I buy sells immediately. My average book takes about 3 months to sell. So this business model takes time, guys, right? It's not like I'm buying a book and instantly turning it around. It takes time. I see my purchases as investments. I'm trying to put my money to work for me and trying to put it into something that is worth more than the money I'm spending on for that product. So, a lot of these things are going to take some time to sell. So you can see this one I bought for $43.66 with the $144 sell price. You can see I made a $66 profit and 150% ROI. If for books like this that are a little bit more expensive, a little bit more rare, I'm okay taking a lower ROI. 150% ROI is actually still amazing in online arbitrage, but it's really about how much profit are you making. So again, this is a book I never touched. It went right from whoever owned this book to my prep center and then to an Amazon FBA warehouse. And all I had to do was buy the book, make sure that it was a good buy, and then reprice it, and that's about it. So we made, $66 profit. And if we scroll down to the Keep It chart, if you look at July 7th, you can see that this book dropped in price from $80 down to $39.67. And that's when I bought it. The reason why I bought it again is because I saw that this book had some sales rank drops in the $100 range in the past. That has some sales rank drops as high as $290, and then it's also consistently held sales rank drops above what I had bought it for. So I felt comfortable that this book, which came out in 2005, which is almost 2 decades old already, was something that holds some pretty good value. And again, I see it as investing in an asset. Taking my money, investing it in something that's worth more than the money itself. And if it takes 3 months or 5 months or even a year to sell, it's a much better return than putting it in the stock market. Like even if you only made a 15 or 20% return after all said and done, like that's better than getting 8% a year in the in the S&P 500. So an awesome, great flip. Let's go to the next one. All right, this next book was As Bread That Is Broken for $37.79. Honestly, this is not a book that I probably would recommend having bought, but I bought it on July 21st. You can see I bought it for a total of $9.47. And so that gave us a profit of $14 and 149% ROI. Now, one thing I like about this book is that the purchase price was low, but if we look at the Keep It chart, honestly, it doesn't look too great. You'll see that when I bought it back in July 21st, it didn't actually look too bad. So it would have been right around this time when I bought it, and the data that I was looking at was, okay, I see a sales rank drop at $29.99. I see a few around $20. I see a few around here at $29.99 and one potentially here at $49. Maybe it was at $20. 21, right around there. And when we look at the last 2,900 days, you'll see that this book has been cheap before, but also in the past has sold in the mid-20s. So this is a book that I felt like it was a little bit undervalued. I don't think it was an amazing pickup, but with that said, if you're being conservative with your buys, you can still sometimes do pretty well. And so, you should still do well most of the time. So I made $14 profit. I'm not sure if I would buy this book again for $9. Maybe if I could pick it up for like $5 to $7 on eBay, it'd be a little bit better. But in any case, it's still sold, and I'm happy with that. All right, the next book that sold at 11:20 a.m. By the way, I was teaching my high school students at that time, was a book called The Intuitive Warrior. It sold for $32.87. You can actually see that I bought this book twice on eBay for $649 and $665. And I've actually now sold this book twice. The first time for $29.99. That's when I decided to replant it, which means buy it again because it had sold profitably. I found it again pretty cheap, and this time it sold for $32.87. And if we're going down and scroll at the Keep It chart, honestly, this Keep It chart doesn't look that amazing either, but this is a book that is a little bit weird because generally we tend to think that when the sales rank drop, that means that the book sells. And so if you see 2 sales rank drops, you would think that means 2 sales. But kind of what I've noticed is that sometimes when I sell books and sometimes when I buy books on Amazon, the sales rank doesn't drop. And so what that's told me through experience is that even though we tend to look for drops as sales, just because we see the sales rank of a book increasing doesn't necessarily mean it isn't selling. If we expand to the last 3,800 days, this is a book that had been out of stock for basically about a year and a half and pretty much was selling immediately as soon as it was coming back in stock. So you can see that when this person came in stock at 25, it sold. Looks like potentially a sell here, and I don't know, used or new, actually maybe collectible condition. No, maybe in used or new condition. Kind of weird that someone would pay that much for it. But then again, a sales rank dropped there at $13.95. So I felt like if we look at some of the data before that, it looks like a sales rank drop at 200, one at 80, and then a couple around here really cheap. And you can see how when we have these sales rank drops, you can see how the offer count responded really well. It went from 17 down to 8. So quite a few people bought a copy of this book. So I'm not retiring off this by any means, but I mean, it made a $13 profit. 210% ROI. It's also a replan, which means that I can pick this up again in the future. So, I can come over here and track the product and say, hey, if it ever gets below $9 with shipping included, send me an email notification. And by the way, guys, I want to let you know that I am right now working very hard on an Amazon to Amazon course. It should hopefully be out by mid-October. Like I said, I'm working really hard on it. It's actually going to be a ton of videos, pretty much none of which are going to be posted on YouTube. It's only going to be exclusive to the people who buy the course. And all I'll promise you is that even though it's not necessarily going to be cheap, the value that's provided in it is well beyond. Now, I think, in my opinion, what's being offered, especially, Amazon's been absolutely life-changing for me. It's helped me hopefully make $100,000 in profit this year. Like that's my goal. And, my goal is to retire early, reach financial independence by the time I'm 35 years old. And Amazon's been a big part in that. So if you're interested in kind of this business model, and if you want to kind of speed up your progress and kind of fast track your success and learn from my mistakes and learn some best strategies and learn some, sourcing techniques I've never shared on YouTube, I think it's really going to help you out. And I think you're going to make your money back very, very quickly. So I made it for people out there who keep asking me about an Amazon course. It's a little bit more organized. The videos will be edited. And like I said, I think it's going to be something that's super valuable to a lot of you. I'm super excited about it. And, you don't have to buy it either. I don't necessarily need the money from the course either, because I've got Amazon, I got my teaching income. I live very frugally. It's just out there for you if you want it. So with that said, let's get back in the video. All right, the next book that sold is A Marvelous Garland of Rare Gems for $160. I've sold this before. This is a replan for me. You can see on eBay, I bought it for $51.99 and $51.12, and you can see it's actually sold twice. Once 2 weeks ago, once 11 hours ago for $160. So great ROI on both of those. You can see it sold for a profit of $72, 140% ROI. So again, the ROI was lower, but the profit, $70, is pretty amazing, right? That's just one book. You can look at, the Keepa chart of this book. It's absolutely amazing. The lowest used price is almost always above $90. There's plenty of sales rank drops over $100, upwards of, there's 146, 146, some at 146. It's been lower as well in the past, but generally, it's held a very high price for a long period of time, and that's great news. Okay, the next thing that we have is an eye clicker. This is with the Reef 6M packaging. So you can pick, eye clickers up on eBay pretty much year-round when it's not textbook season, when, college students don't go back to school, for anywhere around like $12 to $15. And these are actually great flips. You can, I've been able to flip them between anywhere from like 38 to 45 if they don't have the remote reef packaging, and upwards of like 50 to 55 if they do. But what I will say is that test buy them. Don't just go crazy and buy a whole bunch, because you need to be able to win the buy box, because often the lowest used price is actually right around the mid 20s. So in order for you to make money, you basically have to inflate the buy box. So I've sold a few of them. They do really well for me every textbook season. But I would say if you're planning on doing that, don't buy too many before you know that you're able to win the buy box. Okay, so the next thing is actually not a book. It's actually an audio CD. So I want to let you know also that a lot of the filters and a lot of things I'm going to be showing you in my course can be used for other products besides just books. Like they can be used for CDs and DVDs. And so I started doing some test buys for CDs. And here's one of the CDs that actually sold today. Sold for $74.98. You can see that I bought this on March 16th. So this actually was purchased a while ago in the year. We bought it for $14.30. And if we plug that into Seller Amp over here, you can see we made a profit of $41 at 300% ROI. That's on an audio CD, everyone. Isn't that pretty crazy? This came out in 1990, right? It's a really old CD, but one thing that you'll notice is that it doesn't matter what the product is. What matters is the Keepa chart. You see the lowest used price being, pretty high. And so you see this basically having the lowest used price in the $50 range with plenty of sales rank drops. So you can actually see, I found this with Keepa deals, that this dropped from $50 all the way down to about $11 over a few day period. I picked up, one copy of it, made a $41 profit. Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. All right, the next book that we purchased, or actually that we sold, is the RF Design Guide System. And we sold this for $37.81. This is actually one of my worst buys, or like one of my, not so great buys. I bought this actually in 2022, and I think I bought it on eBay. I bought it for $7.21. It took a really long time, over a year to sell. It did sell for $37.81. So I made a $15 profit. And actually what I would need to do is put the storage fees here. So a lot of people ask me about storage fees which is an understandable concern. People are like, well, what happens if the product doesn't sell and it's there for a long period of time? Like, let's say it's there for years or 8 months. Aren't you going to get killed with long-term storage fees? Well, what's really cool is that over here on Seller App, you can actually go ahead and put how long it's been in storage, and you'll see how this adjusts the profit and the ROI. And the good news is that if you're buying books that look good, that are below market value, even if they take a long time to sell, you should be okay, because really the storage fees are not that significant, especially if your average sales price is really high. So, you can see that if I have the storage set to 0 months, I made a profit of $15.78. And if I set the storage to a year, the profit is $15.42. So it's like 30 cents I paid for that book. So it's not amazing that I paid 30 cents, but in reality, it's like only having to pay that 30 cents for that one book to sit there for a year. It's actually quite good for storage. It's better than, keeping it here in my house. So, this is a keeper graph that has some sales range drops in the $20 range. And I think I bought it in early 2022. It actually looked like it had some decent sales in the 25, even up to the $40 range. And, grand scheme of things, like, sometimes you're going to get unlucky as well. Like, it doesn't look too bad when I bought it. Like, I think it should have sold a little bit earlier, but the good news is I bought it at a price that I thought was still undervalued enough that I was able to make money. And sometimes all you'll be able to do is break even. Sometimes you won't be able to sell and you lose money, but the overwhelming majority of the buys, you will win. And you can see, like, every single book that we sold today has been profitable, and most of them have been wildly profitable, right? All right, so the next one is actually also another DVD set. So we sold the Brady Bunch for $49.99, not in new condition, ladies and gentlemen. This is in used condition for a DVD set. So you can see that we bought it here on August 12th. So we just bought it over a month ago. You can see that I used rewards points to pay $0. So I used $13 in rewards points with my Amazon Rewards Visa Signature credit card. I have a video that you can check out here on my channel. Absolutely, hands down, the best credit card for Amazon to Amazon Flips, because you get 5% back on every purchase. You can redeem that for cash back, or you can use that as rewards points for purchases, which is what I did here. And the only reason why I do that and don't claim the cash back is because I like to show people how powerful it is. Like, I bought this thing for $0, and you'll see I made a pretty good profit on a $0 investment, which is kind of crazy. What's really cool is that it has no $0 annual fee, and it has a $150 sign-up bonus right now as of this video. And sometimes it's 125s. And, it usually bumps between those two areas. So if you're really serious about Amazon and Amazon Flips, I'd highly recommend getting that credit card. If you also want to support the channel, it's the easiest way to do that, because I also get a small kickback and it doesn't cost you anything. Here's what I will say though. If you know you're bad with credit cards, ignore everything I said and don't get it. But if you know that you can pay it off in time and you're not going to carry a balance and you're not going to go into debt doing this, then absolutely it's a no-brainer. And just to give you a little context, like, my goal is to get as close as I can to spending $100,000 on books this year. And if I get 5% back on every purchase, that's $5,000 that I made just off rewards points. And that's if I just use it as cash back, which I don't. I usually buy it to buy books. But, $5,000 I live very frugally. So I need about like $3,500 per month, my wife and I, to live. So, that's a little over like a month's worth of rent just in credit card rewards points, which is pretty cool. So back over here, we technically bought it for $13.06. We would have made a $19 profit, but again, we paid $0 for it. Technically, we made a $32 profit. And, it's awesome to take something you bought for free and make some money on it. Okay, again, so the next thing that sold for $45 was, again, that same book that you saw earlier. So again, my math department adopted new textbooks for math. They were literally throwing all of these in the dumpster. So I have the benefit of going ahead and selling them and getting them to a new home and also making a little bit of money as well. So that's cool. Now, the next thing that sold 2 hours ago is actually Beyond Reason. It sold for $98.84. You can see that I made a $43 profit. We bought it for $29.14. So again, let me show you proof that I bought it on August 23rd, which is basically 1 month ago and 3 days ago. So you can see that I bought this for $29.14. If we scroll down to the Keepa chart, what we can do is zoom in to see when this book was selling. Looks like for some reason it was listed for $2,004 in new condition. So I'm gonna get rid of the new button there just to make the graph look a little bit more pleasant. So when I bought this, I had seen multiple sales range drops in the $100 range. If I look back into the last 5-10 years, you can see that the lowest used price has pretty much always been in the 50s. There's also historical sales in the high 100s. So this tells me that this book has a range. Like, it definitely holds quite a bit of value. And I felt like at the purchase price of $29, that's kind of like the cheapest it's ever been. So I felt like if I can kind of sell it for that medium to high threshold, I would make money. It is sold within a 1 month period of time. And honestly, it's not even too expensive right now. It's like $39.95. So you could technically go buy another one. Now, that to me is a little bit too high. I like to be really conservative with my buys. I think buying this for under 30 is a great pickup. I was able to sell mine for a total of $98, make a $43 profit, 150% ROI. And let's go to the next book. All right, the next book that sold is called Raiken the Vampire. I actually features this in a video not too long ago. It sold for $89.97. And I actually had 2 of these in stock. And if we scroll down the Keep It chart, you can see when I picked up both copies. So I picked up one copy here when the use price dropped down to $11.90 and it hit my keep alert. And I picked it up a second time when it dropped down to $9.68. So, 7 people are tracking this book. I have tons of videos on keep alerts. My course will obviously go over keep alerts, but if we go ahead and click June 23rd when I bought this, you can go ahead and see that it was purchased for $15.67. There it is in very good condition. So buy cost, sell price, we made a $50 profit, a 335% ROI. I never touched this book and went right to a prep center. I have no idea what it's even about. Never even looked at it, never flipped through the pages. Went right to a prep center, from the prep center to an Amazon FBA warehouse, from the Amazon FBA warehouse to a customer. And again, I told you that I've sold this multiple times. So let's scroll down to the orders button under Seller Central on Seller app. And you can actually see that it has sold for a total of 3 times. The first time it sold for $99. It got refunded. I had to relist it. Then it sold for $89.97. And again, I had 2 copies, so I bought a second copy, and that one also sold for $89.97. All right, and then the last book that I just sold moments ago, I'm honestly too tired. It's literally midnight already, and this sold for $112, and I think I picked this up for about $35, so also another good pickup there. But the point of this video is to show you that it is absolutely possible to have a busy life, have a 9-to-5 job, have children, have other commitments, work late at night, and buy books whenever you want, and make some pretty good money. If you add up all the profit from everything that sold today, the revenue was over $1,000. The profit was over $400. So I'm not sure how many models out there are doing those kind of numbers with that kind of revenue, but all I'll say is that I'm truly blessed and very thankful that the Amazon is around and exists, because it enables me to get ahead in life by taking this side hustle. And, to be honest with you, I made more money selling books today than I did teaching high school. And I didn't have to be present to sell any of the books. All I had to do was buy them. So if that interests you and you like this content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, stick around, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.